one together. And so I want to promise you that I will not be in any situation where I'm going to push for the removal of any MP because they didn't support me. I'll never do that. I will not do that. Nobody should do that in my name. We are one family and we want to go together. And I want to make that very, very clear. I'll be available to engage with you before the House resumes tomorrow, because this is a very important meeting of Parliament. It is the first full meeting of Parliament since we concluded our presidential primary. It also comes midway through our efforts to reform our party. The country is watching to see what kind of opposition we have become. Ghanaians are watching to see whether we are becoming a government in waiting or whether we are yet to settle. Most importantly, it comes at a time when the NDC administration's honeymoon is gradually wearing off. Questions are beginning to emerge from the broader Ghanaian society. This means that Ghanaians are waking up to the reality of the lackluster performance of the NDC. It also further means that some of the voices that were previously silent can now freely speak up and join us in holding the government to account. We are therefore meeting at a very critical intersection of our political history. The steps we take from this point onwards will be central to delivering Ghanaians from this unambitious and over-promising and under-delivering NDC government. Start by congratulating you for the hard work you have done so far. In the last 17 months, when all has been said and done, you have been the last line of defense and glimmer of hope for the Ghanaian. You have stood and defended our nation and party to everyone's admiration, earning you the accolade, the mighty minority. Well done, well done, well done. But I have not come only to congratulate you. I have come to encourage you, to strengthen your hands, and to remind you that the role you play from this Thursday is bigger than the number of seats we occupy. You are the parliamentary face of the hope that millions of Ghanaians still have in the New Patriotic Party. You are the expression of the ambition and plans of our party for the people of Ghana. Do not underestimate your place in this moment. In opposition, the minority caucus is not a spectator. You are the first line of accountability, the first line of policy scrutiny, and the first line of reassurance to citizens who are beginning to ask whether the promises made to them were carefully thought through or merely crafted for campaign applause and deception. I believe in this cause. I believe in your intellect, your courage, your experience, your political instincts, and above all, your love for the MPP and Ghana. You stand firm when the party needed a voice, and I want you to know that I do not take your sacrifices for granted. In my reflection, there are 4 key things that I want you to have at the top of your minds as you return to the House tomorrow. We are no longer healing. We are preparing to govern. We have finished the period of introspection. We must now position ourselves credibly as a party preparing to govern from 7th January 2029. From this session onward, every word we speak must answer one question in the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian. Can I trust the NPP to run the country again? That is the question we must answer. The positions we take on matters that come before the House, alternative businesses, the alternative business we bring to the floor, private members' bills we choose to introduce, our comments to the press, and what we participate in, abstain from, or even boycott, must all be guided by one objective: convincing the people of Ghana that they can trust us to do a better job than the NDC and move this country in the direction that ensures growth while safeguarding our country for future generations. Our viewpoint on issues and policy must be built on strategy, careful research, and well-crafted messages before we walk into the chamber. I will be directly involved in supporting you achieve this. The entire party is also building a strong architecture to support you through the sector committees, so we can sing from the same hymn sheet and act with a coordinated strategy at every point in time. We must always project this posture, that we are a party preparing to govern. This will send a strong message and well-meaning message to the people of Ghana and emphasize our belief that it is only the NPP that can move this nation on a glorious path and not just propping our economy. We need to remind Ghanaian party who introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme, the school feeding program, the free senior high school policy, youth employment program, to mention a few. Honorable members, second, we must hold the government to account for its promises and claims. The NDC made many claims while in opposition. There were things they complained about, and there were things they promised. We must be clinical in holding them to account on all these. We cannot wait for them to bring government business before we hold them accountable. Through questions, statements, and motions, we need to bring business from our side that holds the NDC accountable for its past claims. And this must be persistent. To this end, my office is preparing schedules of various claims. I want us to work with our allies and well-meaning Ghanaians, whether CSOs or the media, to raise and amplify these issues week by week. That is how we will gradually wear down their goodwill, expose the gap between promise and delivery, and begin to win back the confidence of Ghanaians well before their primaries in 2028. We cannot wait until 2028. This must be done now. The only thing this administration claims to have credit for so far is the propped up macroeconomic stability. First, let's be clear that the road to stability started on our watch after the twin crises that hit us. Second, as we all know, stability is not an end to itself. It is a means to an end. If you ask the NDC today to name 3 policies that they implemented in 2025 that achieved this stability. 3 new policies, they cannot. I mean, they cannot name 3 new policies that they implemented that achieved this stability. Like you couldn't have achieved this stability without the Gold for Reserves program, which they cannot claim as much as they try. You cannot achieve this stability without the difficult debt restructuring program we undertook. You cannot achieve it without these things. So they cannot really tell us what they did to achieve this stability. Second, as we all know, as I was saying, stability is not an end in itself. It's how that stability is maintained and translated into relief in the cost of living of our people. We are not interested in statistical stability on itself. Anywhere we find that this is not happening, we must raise it and highlight the plight of the people. You are doing well in demonstrating this through the lives of farmers, and we need to extend that same approach to all spheres that we agree on strategically. The latest Afrobarometer data suggests that the most important issue on the minds of our young people is jobs. The government has passed or brought its 24-hour economy law and calls it the answer to the youth unemployment. We must hold them accountable for their job promises. We must choreograph a series of activities that mainstream the jobs conversation and expose the deceit the NDC continues to present on the jobs question. We must demand the 133 formulas implementation. The coming meeting of Parliament must therefore not be ordinary business as usual. The 24-hour economy, the real cost and implementation plan of that policy, the credibility of the job promises, the rising pressure on households, the cost of doing business, the return of doomsaw, the future of our farmers, the fight against galamsey, the management of our natural resources, including lithium, and the use of statutory funds such as the District Assembly's Common Fund must all receive disciplined, persistent, and evidence-based scrutiny from our side. Where government makes a claim, ask for the numbers. Where government announces a program, ask for the budget, the implementation architecture, the timelines, the beneficiaries, and the measurable outcomes. Where government takes credit for stability, ask how that stability is reaching the market woman, the teacher, the nurse, the cocoa farmer, the graduate, the trotro driver, the small business owner, and the unemployed youth. The people are not evidence that when entrusted with power, we used it to expand opportunity, protect families, and move Ghana forward. This means that the date on our record must be readily available at your fingertips. And I'm making some effort at this to provide us data for you all to have basically on your fingertips of the record of all of our achievements across every sector, in every district. I want it to be on your mobile phone so that when you get up to debate, you'll tap here and you'll see our record there. Within the next 4 months or so, I expect all that to be available to you. And so we must speak with God to support messaging and to stand with you when the work becomes difficult. We have set up policy committees, and the policy committees are going to help us bring our policies and alternatives together. These policy committees will metamorphose into our manifesto committee at the end of the year. I expect with clarity most of all the committees to complete their work on where we are going, so that we are very clear before we get into 2027 what our policy alternatives, all the critical issues are. Because we don't want to wait to 2028 before starting to sell our messages to the Ghanaian public. It will be a bit late by then. We want to start in 2027. Beyond the policy committees, we are also putting together teams to engage the identifiable groups, the teachers, the nurses, the miners, and everybody else, so that we start that interaction with them way before the election. And so that we understand them, we understand their issues, they understand us, and all of that engagement will also reflect in our manifesto for 2028. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but I believe that if we put all of this together, we will have a very solid platform, very solid messaging, so that the people of Ghana will understand the difference between us and the NDC when it comes to governance. Earlier position about the recent arrests, harassment, detention, and intimidation of MPP activists and communicators for expressing their views on national issues. Ghana's democracy was not built on fear, and no government must be allowed to use state power to silence criticism or criminalize political disagreement. With respect, the law as a party, we respect the law as a party. Indeed, we are a party of the rule of law. We respect due process, and we will always encourage our supporters to speak responsibly. But responsible speech cannot mean silent opposition. As minority MPs, you must be the constitutional shield for every Ghanaian whose voice is threatened, whether that person belongs to the MPP, CPP, or no party at all. Let the country know that under our watch, Parliament will not look away when citizens are made to fear the simple act of speaking their mind. Never. I appreciate the efforts of the parliamentary leadership in leading this charge. I will also consultation. Let us disagree internally where we must, but let us face the country with one purpose and one voice. Let no one outside this party profit from avoidable divisions within our ranks. The people who sent us to Parliament, millions who still look to us for hope, deserve a united and serious MPP. When we have matters, let's not run to the press to ventilate those matters. Let us deal with them internally. Running to the press only weakens us internally because you're giving ammunition to our enemies. We have internal processes where we can use, which we can use to solve matters. Ladies and gentlemen, calm, confident, and prepared, not as an aggrieved party, but as a government in waiting. Yeah. Let every Ghanaian who watches this session come away thinking the MPP is ready and the MPP is on our side. So when you rise in the chamber, rise with confidence. When you question ministers, do so with the facts. When you speak to the press, speak with discipline. When you return to your constituencies, carry hope. Remind our hope people that MPP has not disappeared. The MPP has not been silenced, and the MPP is preparing itself carefully to offer Ghana a better, visionary, and stronger government.
We are the new patriotic party. We are the new patriotic party. The elephant is the winning symbol. We shall win to save Ghana. The elephant is the winning symbol. We shall win to save Ghana. We We shall win to save Ghana. The elephant is the symbol. We shall win to save Ghana.